Hello and welcome. If you've been in the game a while, you've probably heard rumors of this guy. Maybe you know someone who claims to have played with him, but he's a pretty unique and challenging character. I've collected footage from a couple sessions so you can see what it's like to play with the overly serious dungeon master. Nowadays, we'd call him a game master, referee, autocrat, oligarch. I think you have to be an oligarch to be a GM these days, what with the price of books and all. But he knows no other term than dungeon master, and I promise you, this will be torture. If you want to hang with him, make sure you have your copy of the rules as well as your binder with all of his homebrewed mandates. All right, friends. Grab some snacks, lay back, and enjoy the collected works of the overly serious dungeon master. Do, 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 do. Warnings of triggers. Those who have endured difficult dungeon masters may not find relaxation in this video. Existeth this new phenomenon of ASMR for relaxation, though? Scholars continue to debate this point. Other triggers captured hereforth are whispering, hand movements, sand, lights, the eerie silence of the abyss, and the sound of flesh being torn from the bone. Welcome, ye adventurers. I would say that we're all here and ready to go, except someone is not wearing their garb. It was clearly stated on page 19 of the starter documentation I sent you that garb would be required. We'll wait. Yes, well, the rule set I'm using, which you'll have in your manuals I've provided, mostly using 2nd edition due to freedom in the role playing, though of course I must give a nod to the original and the excellent qualities contained therein, albeit somewhat limited as a first draft. On top of 2nd edition, you might say I've added a cosmetic veneer of 5th edition just to help make it playable by, well, all of you. It begins with Forgotten Realms, but since that's such a poorly fleshed out and limited campaign world, I've had to further develop it. You may recognize a few scraps, but mostly it is original, and of course I had to adapt it due to the limitations of the rule set therein to match with my own homebrew setup. Ah, you're back. Now see, that is so much better. I can take you seriously now. And I appreciate the chastity belt. I think that's a very nice touch that shows real commitment to your character. Not everyone goes that extra mile. Are we ready? I am Celedric the Crimson. Prepare yourselves for an epic. I only had the black one. And it's crimson, not red. Prepare yourselves for an epic saga, a battle against good and evil. I could not tell an arcane story if I had not mastered the intricacies of spellcasting myself. Even now, it scars my body. Soon, it will consume my soul. Also, I have to pick my sister up at 8, so we need to wrap up by then. Have your actions ready. Be all set when I call on you. Especially carefree, whimsical gnomes. Before we begin our journey, you must swear the blood oath to abide by all constraints and laws set down by your dungeon master hereforth. Take the dagger provided to you and swear the oath. If you do not swear this oath, demons will hunt you in your sleep for all eternity. You will never know wakefulness again. Swear the oath, and we may begin. Excellent. To the town. You enter the tavern, a wooden structure, a roaring hearth, tables filled with revelers, some shady, some adventurers like yourself, some regulars. There is a bard. He plays music the quality of middling Klingon opera, though pithier and as such more annoying. Yes, like many bards, he is untrained on the instrument, preferring to pander to loathsome oafish masses rather than master the nuances of the instrument. Much like the bard in your party who wouldn't know dactylic hexameter if it had sex with his mother and produced a half-brother that went on to great fame and fortune while he wallowed in obscurity and penury. No, the music is not good. You sidle up to the wooden bar. The tavern keeper approaches. Well, I'm Farthern Farmelflagon, keeper of this establishment. Ah, you're taking notes. Good. Farthern Farmelflagon. Farthern Farmelflagon with an F. I'm Farthern Farmelflagon, keeper of this establishment. What can I get for all of you? Ah, wine. We have many fine elven wines. Which vintage would you like? Ah, we don't have that vintage. Ah, we don't have that vintage either. No, we don't have that year. Which vintages do we have? Ah, well, that depends. Which vintage would you like? Oh, you'll have ale. Well, we have ale. It is paler than the skin of an Ithabascan ice elf on a winter's tundra under an all-winter's moon. No, it is not water. It is ale, but paler than a shimmering spectral dove released into the tufty, clouded sky as soft as pillows above the expanse of Aldravinch. You'll all have ales. Perfect. Ah, you'll have mead. I note certain clues upon your character which suggest you're of a northern heritage and thus enjoyed the honeyed sweet taste of mead. I shall gather up your drinks and return. Your ales. For you, some mead. Well, I'm almost out, so that's all you can have. The new batch didn't turn out. Well, I see ye are adventurers from your clothing and weapons. I suspect ye seek adventure. I can spot these things. A practiced eye. Well, if it's adventure you seek, Barton Cragsmire is hiring warriors and other mercenary types in an attempt to recover the crystal femur. He's sitting at that table over there if you'd like to talk with him. And I just really wonder about all these rumors about missing gold from the royal coffers. Yes, you wish to speak with Cragsmire. Yes, very well. I am Barton Cragsmire, and I am hiring adventurers to find the crystal femur. I will roll to see if I heard your question. Ah, yes. The royal treasurer, we believe, has a map to the crystal femur. He's part of a secret society. I do not know their aims or motives, but I do have a sense that they seek to bring a black cloud of evil over the land. What's the prime directive? Anyway, if you can get into the treasury and obtain this map, you might find the way to the crystal femur. Surely some sort of evil. Evil because I'm not a part of it. Good luck to you, adventurers. Come back to me if you have the femur, and I will have a handsome reward for you. successfully maneuver across the room, past the giant cat. The Hall of Records for the Royal Treasury is in the third tallest tower of the castle. Ascending the long spiral staircase, you come to a small antechamber. The Hall of Records is just across the chamber from you. However, a guard stands before the door. Lucky for you, his back is turned as he watches vermin scurry across the walls. Go ahead and roll for that. Your dagger tickles his heart, and he falls to the ground, lifeless. He shall not go home to his family tonight, or ever again. The salary which they depended on is gone forever. His children will likely turn to crime, and his wife will throw herself into the arms of a wealthy yet cruel merchant just to get by. But you have unfettered access to the Hall of Records. It is a candlelit chamber filled with many papers and parchments, official documents of the Treasury, and in the center on a lectern, the ledger book for the Royal Treasury. Do you wish to view the accounting ledger? You seek the map. You are, of course, free to choose any course. You have the liberty to do so, but viewing the accounting ledger may be the most propitious path forward for your party. Oh, I'm so glad you chose to look at the ledger. Flipping it open, you immediately notice a discrepancy on page 245. However, you would not notice such a discrepancy without becoming acclimatized to the standard 244 pages that precede it. Beginning with page 1. Tapestries, 300 florins. Sembian Express bill, 1,500 florins. Courtesans, 2,000 florins. Mincemeat pies, 260 gold pieces. Tournament invitations, 80 gold pieces. Tax levies for Nalling County, 1,200 florins. Foxhounds, 180 florins. Almerian ale, 450 gold pieces. Sauerkraut, 6,000 florins. Courtesans, 3,000 florins. Skincare salve, 800 gold. Arrows, 1,000 florins. Swords, 200, 5,000 florins. Beekeeper's wages, 300 gold pieces. Eager to pursue the leads you discovered in the royal treasury, you set out on the trail marked on the map. And then you are using a compass to travel, correct? So we'll need to make the adjustment for magnetic declination, which strangely is changing more rapidly these days in this world. A mystery for another day. Ah, yes, as you come to the river crossing. Yes. Two orcs block your passage to the bridge. Yes, I know that. I know they are Gamorrean guards, but they look somewhat like orcs. Well, miniatures are expensive. I have to make do. This is going to be an issue. They are simply representations. Well, you could make an argument for a crossover. You know, in the 9th novel of the Sith Legion's trilogy, they were in one of the power caves when they found the artifact that could potentially... Two orcs block your path. Everyone should roll for initiative. Although you've been making good progress since the battle with the orcs, the wound your fighter took in his side is very painful. As you look at it, you notice that it's festering. It is obvious that without treatment, you will soon expire. Fun isn't a part of it. My job is to produce a compelling medieval simulation, and infection and possible death from it are just part of that reality. Tell me why you think you'd be able to make that check. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's delightful. Yeah. Ah, Yes. Oh, exquisite. Exquisite. Oh, absolutely. No, you can't make the check. Well, I thought it was delightful, the story that you were spinning, but unfortunately it doesn't really have a lot of correspondence to the reality of your situation. Yes, I can understand how aspects of the Rugar religion might have, continued in pockets and some of the more remote communities after its, formal dissolution in the 3rd century. But, when you take into account local culture's impact and the transformation upon the original seed of that religion, I think we end up in a very different place than what you've laid out. In fact, your argument has no compelling basis in fact at all. Your character sheet says your flaw is a tendency towards greed, not an outright lack of intellect. So please, stay in character. So you will seek a priest. You are able to locate the small temple. Upon entering, the priest sizes you up and, bearing the cold, deceitful heart that all purveyors of religion possess, he sees an opportunity to overcharge you for his services. Yes, I can heal you. It will merely be 75 gold pieces. A fair price for my blessing. May the blessings of the dawn rays of Miriabine shine upon you. May you drink deep of the cup of tranquility, and let it dilute the liquor of woe that has so filled you. Be at peace and one with the light. A warm glow appears around your body. A warmth suffuses through your skin as the infection clears and the wound covers over to trouble you no more, save for your much lighter purse. Blessings be upon you as well. May the dawn rays ever greet you each morn. As you leave the temple, a stranger approaches, one you saw within, also receiving services from the priests. Greetings, noble adventurers. I couldn't help but overhear some of the stories you were telling there in the temple. Please, forgive my eavesdropping. It comes only from the most noble of intentions. I would know more of your story, potentially lend my aid to your cause. I am most moved by your story. Your telling is eloquent. In fact, your elocution belies your low charisma score. Nevertheless, I would swear my oath to you to support you in this cause for justice. So that you know the true value of my fealty, I shall now explain to you the noble history of my name over the last 4 centuries. There is not anyone in Lyriabor, whether king or common man, who does not know of the name Isagalan. Yes. Yes. This is my character from the Mordrin Wind campaign. But he's so fascinating and richly developed. He's wasted in such a tawdry dungeon crawl. My family have served as beast keepers to the ruling Shakshana clan since the birth of knowledge itself. It is an honored role for the Telhong beasts that we keep are intelligent and revered creatures in my land. Beast keeper is a word lacking the full richness of the meaning of our duties. It implies something of the warrior and the poet, as well as a mystic sense of keepers of these cunning and noble beasts. In fact, to fully convey the meaning of what I'm saying, I must use our native tongue. Que monga de fro estumacate fo ashemegede and then for this scion of the house of Isagalon falls to the ground in a pool of his own blood. The thief passed me this secret note informing me of his intentions to backstab this valiant knight. Having passed all of his roles, he was able to end this poor knight. Most craftily achieved extra experience points. Though I guess I will need to change. Though deprived of the company of the charming, urbane, and noble Isagalon, you continue and with the magnetic declination here. Perfect. Go ahead and roll a check for that. Okay. Yeah. You notice a set of tracks. They are light. Perhaps an elf. Yet, strangely, they are disappearing even as you try to follow them. you reconsider. Perhaps not an elf. A human. Or something like a human. They seem to blend with orc tracks, perhaps now traveling in twain, perhaps having passed the same way previously. But while you expect the rank stench of orc, instead, the lovely scent of lavender. How curious. The clearing up ahead provides an answer to this conundrum. The Whispering Warlock. I am the Whispering Warlock. You have invoked my wrath. Prepare to face the consequences. He casts enchantments upon you. Your attacks are proving fruitless. Such is his magic power. He casts Charm Person on you. You are very charmed. Not you, Annika. You always think it's you because you're beautiful. But you, very charmed. He cast Hold Person upon you. Roll a savings throw. Will. Yeah, it's a DC 94. You feel the arms wrap around you. A tight embrace. Warm, loving, comforting, yet constricting, such that you are immobilized, unable to move, yet like a hug, a nice hug, one that leaves you completely unable to do anything. Feel the embrace. You wish to cast heroism on your fighter. Go ahead and roll. You feel the effects of the heroism spell upon you. Your heart fills with thoughts of glory. You are driven inside to sacrifice yourself in order to further the ruling classes. And yet you feel the sacrifice is noble for your nation rather than the self-interest of a few. With a charge, you dash towards the whispering warlock, who, occupied with another incantation, does not see you. Approach and take hold of him. His spell interrupted. A battle of wills and strength takes place. The thin veneer of civilization that covers over your animal instincts is so easily stripped away. Your party watches as your muscles flex. Your face reddens, and you pull his arm clean free from his body. He can only scream. The second one follows. He is no more. You have fulfilled your duty. You have defeated the whispering warlock. Bards, whatever their ability, shall speak of this day all through the years to come. You attempt to cast mukbang. Savings throw. Constitution. Your mukbang spell fails. The whispering warlock conquered. Your path is open into the sands of solemnity. You make your way across the sands of solemnity, nearing the end of the path on the map. As you get closer, you see that it marks the site of old ruins. A few stones still remain from what was clearly a great castle that once stood upon this site. As you step on the stones, the desert sands grind beneath your boots. You hear a faint sound that quickly grows in volume. You suddenly feel the full onslaught of the greatest heavy metal music ever recorded. Before your very eyes, Iron Maiden. Roll a will savings throw. Minus 666 to see if you are overwhelmed by their greatness. You have never heard such incredible music before. Your characters are in awe and helpless before their might. Okay. I have a house rule on that. yes. In a specific instance of pre-labeled subsection C cases wherein refer to 729. Yes, okay. So, and greater than or equal to the natural log of 5 plus the square root of the difference in your initiative roll and your skill with stealth minus any racial bonus divided by yeah. Legal scholars have reviewed the rule in question, and no, you may not. Okay. Yeah, alright. The drab music of your bard lulls Iron Maiden to sleep. But just when you think you are home free, though expecting grander entrance music, nevertheless an apparition rises from the sands. No, that's not how you pronounce that in this dialect. Ke la, ke la, ke la, ke la. It's a tonal language. I mean, it couldn't be simpler. Ke la, ke la. I have 9 hours of instructional videos on this language on my YouTube. I fail to see why you haven't studied those. I mean, if you put that you know the language on the character sheet, yet you don't know the language, that seems like a lie, doesn't it? No, you're missing the throat singing portion. It's a dual language. The sorcerer grows tired of this debate. 2 beasts materialize alongside him. One has a red gem on his forehead. No, it's not an orc. A red gem. It is multifaceted, scintillating. The incantation continues. Your arrows pass by harmlessly, You are unable to affect him. As he performs his incantation, the sands begin to stir. Oh, there's chicken. If anyone's hungry, yeah, just help yourself. These sands begin to stir. Shapes begin to form. Rising up from the desert itself. The ancient castle. You can tell from its design that is the work of the architect Biron Skarin, who served the rulers in the 18th dynasty and was noted for his fortification design. The power of this sorcerer to be able to create an entire fortress must be mighty indeed. No doubt your humble party is powerless against him, and you have reached the end of your luck and your ability to roll your way out of a perilous situation. The fortress appears to be nearly impregnable. Tell me your actions. You are unsuccessful. you wish to shoot the gem. Why would you wish to shoot the gem? I mean, are you sure? That seems like speculation. Very well. Make your roll. Your arrow shatters the gem. The beast collapses, as does its companion. The sorcerer vanishes. Winds blow. A great rumbling. The castle being consumed again by the desert. And the castle, like all of us, is simply dust in the wind. But on the rotunda, now, a locked wooden chest. You wish to open it. Go ahead and roll to see if you can pick the lock. You feel the tumblers sliding your pick into the keyhole, attempting to feel each tumbler, the tension. Your finely tuned elven senses, your touch, your hearing, attempting to manipulate this ancient lock. With a click, it gives way. Inside, you find the dream of all adventurers. Coins, riches, enough nearly to fill the holes in your greedy hearts, and more. beats. You take each shining gem, orc, out of its pouch. And then, wrapped in velvet, beneath the riches you have discovered, the crystal femur. You have journeyed far and wide, braved many dangers, walked through the sands of solemnity, escaped the tunnel of tingles, survived the storm of pine cones, and have at last arrived in town. Yet it is eerily silent. The usual milling about of the townspeople is absent. You sense danger. No, it's not the Demigorgon. It's not the Demigorgon. Okay. The next person who says Demigorgon loses 1,000 experience points. Minus 1,000. Minus 1,000. Minus 1,000. Minus 1,000. Minus 1,000. I can do this for an entire rotational solar cycle. Very well. It is not the Demogorgon that appears in front of you outside the tavern. It is the Mind Flayer. Just kidding. It's the Tavern Keeper. A flippant comment you made 11 hours ago does not mean you called it. Besides, you didn't even know of the embezzlement scheme at the royal coffers at that point. Ah. Greetings, adventurers. I remember ye, but you'll not need those weapons. You see, as you have been on a long journey, so have I. Whereas yours was of a dramatic arc, mine was of a moral arc. I have recognized the errors of my ways, and I have resolved to change them. I have returned the money taken from the coffers, and the king has hired me to be his minister of finance, which will earn me more money than I would have made from what I was stealing. So I've made out quite well, actually. So I bid you adieu, but without your inspirational efforts, I might never have seen this new path. I am forever grateful. He departs. It's not about fulfilling your bloodlust. It's about the redemption inside of a human being. Besides, you'll still lay your greedy fingers on the reward. No, we only take a break when the sands of time decree, marking their passage into eternity, the infinity of the ocean shore, modest compared to the endless dark chasm in the depths of men, yet one which can be healed. Evil can be overcome in the soul, as the tavern keeper has taught us today. Ah, but what mysteries still remain? Who was that mysterious maiden in the fields? And was the child of divine birth, or really an attempt to prey on the people's need for miracles? So we will learn next when... Oh, you want to sleep? Well, how about you give me a roll? You sleep. Oh. 10:30. Oops. I should probably get my sister. We begin on Kryn in the 1347th year by Dale reckoning, prior to the annoying time of troubles and the monstrously uninteresting Netheril invasion. A calm has come over the kingdom of Tyr. Little do folks know that an ancient artifact long dormant beneath the surface of the world has been unearthed. What chaos will reign? What foul power might wield it to lord over the simple manipulated classes of the world and corrupt the ruling hereditary hierarchy? Who might be brave enough or foolish enough to oppose it? These are custom results tables. I mean, have you looked at the tables in this thing? It's like they were designed by someone making actuarial tables for an insurance company. They're insanely boring and show absolutely no understanding of more sophisticated statistical equations. There we go. All right. I track all rolls of my dice. See, many people assume that they are generally random, but each die has manufacturing defects that prejudice it towards certain rolls. I try to identify and keep the highest rolling dice. Timora, Lady of Luck, please place your fortune upon these dice. that I might roll high and vanquish my enemies. In this I pray. Lady of Luck, Timora. Here, come on, sit down. Please, let's get started. The high fructose corn syrup based sauce on those wings has all day to congeal. You don't need to rush it. And I would recommend saving the ale until your arteries have been opened and you require sedation to manage the pain. All right. Greetings, ye adventurers. Prepare to enter the ludic circle, leaving behind the cares of the world to enter into a world of richly detailed and powerful role-playing, a life-changing experience. A ludic circle of doom from which there will be no escape. And a circle now enlightened by new and better rules, which I will give to you now. You'll remember last time that I had to make a ruling on the tropical disease contagion rates. I didn't factor in that the humidity would affect the airflow and density, a mistake which will not happen again thanks to these new rules. These replace pages 389 to 421 in your books. You can go ahead and replace those and we can begin. Ah, yes, so how shall we begin? Let's see. You are not at a humble tavern in a humble village, a place where one's own labors produce results, rather than the efforts of slaves obedient to your hereditary name out of fear of beatings or execution. No, you are not at a humble tavern. You are on your bark. I will not call it a yacht. A bark, ill-earned thanks to an absurd roll on an RNG table I got off GeoCities without running it through my Excel model first. Thankfully, taxes are high in this area, and your ill reputation shall find you no favors with those who would see your wealth redistributed. Enjoy your treasure while you can. The guillotine awaits for those of your ilk. Now I, with all my experience and learned knowledge as a DM, shall turn over autonomy to my players. Whatever shall you do? Dock your bark. Okay. Do you have a title chart? Proficiency in seamanship? Have you given the slightest thought to the challenges your character might encounter in this region and what your character might need for skills to respond to those challenges? Your expression speaks volumes. Well, Larry, is it? A name so etymologically absurd and out of place as to be purely spiteful, and in doing so ruins the experience for those who have embraced the intricacies and rich depth of this truly brilliant campaign. So, Larry, how about you cobble together a roll for me? And it would be delightful if it contained one iota of detail about how you, with no knowledge whatsoever of seamanship, might dock your bark. We shall let the dice decide. As you make your way down the dingy waterfront, you come across a run-down establishment. It is rough and tumble, but you believe it is the place that the harbor master recommended. The harbor master's name is not Ray. It is Raymond, the Archbishop of Pettigrew, 7th generation heir of Alphonsus the Mangled. Let me draw you the family tree. It won't take but a moment. This is fairly common knowledge, particularly if you'd studied the roster of nobility. Well, yes, it was the incident with the family fortune, of course, which is why he's in more of a pedestrian trade as a harbor master. Yes, and it was down through what had originally been his son's line. Well, I'm condensing things a bit just so that we can move on rather than wasting a bunch of time about how his name is Raymond. But you can see, of course, how he's ended up where he is. Anyway, you enter the tavern. It's populated by tough customers, the sort who look like they might be enforcers coming to make good on your overdue Sembian Express bill payments. But perhaps that's a matter for another time. You find a table, and the tavern keeper approaches. He seems like an amiable, chatty fellow, and unlikely to be behind the entire plot. Greetings, ye adventurers. What brings you into my tavern today? Seek ye quenching of your thirst? Well, I'm glad you ask. My name is Valiandro Vianio. That's with 4 L's. Ye wouldn't happen to be the fine folk who own that bark docked docked in the harbor, are ye? I thought ye might be. We love having fine folk such as yourself come into the establishment, and I've got a special deal for you in recognition of how much I appreciate your patronage. Only 2 silvers per ale. That's right, and this offer won't last long, so I would take advantage while you can. Let me get those ales for you. The amiable barkeep goes and gets you some ales. As he brings them back, say, ye wouldn't be adventuring types, would ye? The kind who might be interested in a dangerous but potentially rewarding, but certainly heroic and potentially world-saving challenge, because I've heard an interesting rumor that may interest ye. Some wizards came into the establishment not long ago, and knowing that they're often sources of interesting gossip and rumors, I plied them with coconut rum to loosen their tongues. Well, of course we have coconut rum here. We get it through trade. Yes, our ships carry peat and horse manure, take it across the sea to land where they have a bounty of coconuts, and we exchange and they bring the coconut rum back to us. That's how trade works. Well, these wizards, they had interesting things to say once their tongues were loosened on coconut rum, though I didn't give them as good as a deal as I'm giving ye all with that 2 silvers per ale discount. Yes, indeed. What they had to say disturbed me greatly. That some evil being had acquired an ancient relic, a shard of glass, perhaps even crystal or gemstone. Yes, and this evil being seeked to regurgitate the power of the shard, that it would use this monstrous shard to bring great evil upon the world, and someone must stop it before we all fall to the darkness. The monstrous shard. No, shard. D. It's a stop plosive consonant. It's a voiced stop plosive D, not T, not the non-voiced stop plosive, which is T, D. Shard. No, not eh. It's a vowel, a back vowel, not a front vowel. Front vowel. Back vowel. Monstral shard. Anyway, if this evil being is not stopped, he will unleash the power of the monstral shard. Perhaps ye adventurers can take on this challenge, and ye can save the world from this certain and terrible doom. Can I get ye another round of ale? Only 2 silvers per ale, thanks to the wonderful discount I offer ye. Another round of ales, then. Fantastic. Ye shall have them soon enough. Have you finished your deliberations? You wish to investigate the temple mentioned by the itinerant juggler. That's actually wise. Are you sure you don't want to pickpocket the viceroy? Or insert your spear of fornication +4, which I always assumed was a measurement rather than a bonus, into the ombudsman's wife? Very well. The temple it is, then. Welcome to our temple. Here we give praise to the sacred Lord of the Dawn, benefactor of peat merchants, last refuge of the soldier, and scourge of thespians. You are welcome here. We are in service, but you are free to look around as suits your needs. And if you wish, please join us in our worship of our sacred Lord. You wipe the slain urchin's blood off your dagger as the monk rushes up to you. What, by the Lord of Light, have you done? Thou hast slain this poor urchin. For what reason? This poor child, even though I always found his voice extremely annoying when he would beg for alms. Pray tell, why have you done this? Okay. Yes. I'm not sure that I wrote that text as justification for child murder. However, I see how a particularly devout, albeit less intellectual character might interpret it as such. 1 extra XP for your role-playing. May it speed your way to level 17. I am the gesticulator, but I am trapped in Mordenkainen's mediocre box. How will I ever get out of this box? I am not speaking. I only gesticulate. I am the gesticulator. It is unfortunate that this box in which I am trapped is placed in the middle of the path you are following. I guess you will have to help contend with this situation. You can't walk away. I am an important link in the chain. You come back. No, please come back. I am trapped in this box. How can you leave the helpless gesticulator trapped in this box? The half-height door opens and a halfling steps out. He appears to be the one you seek, as he seems to be wearing the bracelet of unification that you learned about in the temple lore. The elven runes on the bracelet glow faintly. Did I say ring? It's a bracelet of unification. Did I fail to enunciate bracelet? Did I stutter? So the halfling wearing the bracelet. Oh, and before you make a snide remark, yes, I have seen the Hobbit film. Is a blatant ripoff of the Lord of the Rings, plagiarized with all the ceremony of Magua cutting out Colonel Monroe's heart. Now, as I said, the halfling wearing the bracelets of unification steps out of his home. It's not a child, he's short. It's a halfling. Fine. There we go. So, the halfling wearing the bracelets of unification. This is too tall. And it can't be a halfling because it's too tall. Two and a quarter inches tall. I'm sorry, is that too tall for a halfling? So as I understand it, the choices you're debating are between searching the swamp of endless desolation or returning to the inn for Friday drinks. Wow, we could literally wait centuries for you to notice a basic plot point, like a serial killer loading you into the back of his van. Oh, what's this? Is that a messenger pigeon? It's a messenger pigeon. What does the message say? It says, go to the watchman's tower on the high ridge, where local residents have noticed glowing nights every night for the last 2 weeks. Oh, birds flying away. Hope you got the message. So you think you cover 10 miles on foot in a day? Maybe you think you can maintain that pace based on your Sunday hikes in a temperate climate with your Tinder match and her obnoxious, weird-looking dog wearing its ridiculous North Face canine anorak. Well, I'm sorry. This is a trudge over hard terrain. There is no farm-to-table chilaquiles and mimosas waiting for you at the end. No, just another gruel of mildewy oatmeal on a brutally windswept ridge. So, tell me again, Mr. 10 miles a day, about the condition of your footwear. Yeah. It's time for a roll on the blister and bunion table. fire sputters to life. Ah, use water for broth. Now that is clever. No, your adventuring kits do not contain herbs for flavor. Your rations are basically power bars that have been baked in a kiln for 6 months. They barely keep you alive if you could choke them down. You do have an insight, though. You think perhaps that the iocane powder carried by your magician might add a delicious flavor to the broth. No. Wizards are powerful masters of destruction, wise, clever, able to smite an enemy in a moment. Your sad parlor tricks can do little more than entertain children. That child farce wizard? Ridiculous. I mean, Snape fears him? Absolutely not. Such a powerful and evil spellcaster would wipe out that annoying child in an instant. Yes, well, this is why fan fiction was invented. I can correct that inaccuracy in the story, and you'll see, mine will actually become popular. You push your way through the tall rows of corn, the plants baked dry and brown in the hot autumn sun. As you press your way through, you come upon a clearing and find the land's owner. There on the ground, blood seeping from his wounds. Corn devils killed my father. The corn in his whiskey and the corn snakes in his field, who feasted on his corpse right in front of my 10-year-old eyes. It was a cornucopia of suffering, and I knew then that injustice was woven into the core of this world, that I must become one with it and perpetuate it so others might suffer as I did. You can roll a medicine check to try to staunch the bleeding and save him. It fails. Injustice encircles the world like a line of latitude. Well, it may have been corny, but I think it was a good warning about the evils of big corn. Moving on. You make your way through the most beautiful and tranquil forest you've ever seen. What's your marching order, by the way? Yeah, okay, yeah. And both in front? Okay. It is a majestic forest. There's no undergrowth. Nothing impedes your view except for the magnificent redwood trees, 3 verbeeg cubits in diameter. You are overly boastful as a party and overly confident in your passive perception, and thus fail to notice the ambush. A spellcaster appears before you. I am the soft-speaking sorcerer. You wretched folk, murdered my brother, the whispering warlock. I have hunted you ever since, and have carefully researched everything about you, so I know that none of you possess magic that could attack my only weakness, poison gas. So now, piteous creatures, prepare to die. Roll initiative. Okay. And okay, and you? The dwarf? Okay. The soft-speaking sorcerer, prepared already to strike death blows into each of your hearts, sends a bolt of blazing missiles into you for 17 damage. And you'll go first for the party. As you do, a blue glow appears around the soft-speaking spellcaster, and your spell sputters in low resolution, like the CG in the latest Michael Bay transformation film. Cleric, you're up next. Thief, you're on deck. And next time, no using any special abilities from other books until I have read them first. So, what do you do? Larry, do you really think your called shot is going to land? You can't roleplay your way into being a hero. You either have the genetic ability or you don't. We all come into this world the same way that our characters do. You roll 3d6 6 times and assign the results. You need to give up on this idea of being a great warrior. It was a youthful and thus perhaps justifiable dream, but I think it's time you devote yourself to being a tavern keeper or learning the art of the tailor so that you can mend clothes for your betters. Yes, there are no consolation prizes for second in the haunted forest. Likely not even a grave, just a pile of bones rotting for eternity. You either swing harder and faster than does the chimera its claw, or you don't. And that's how it is. Now, my girlfriend says people often don't like hearing bad things, even though it's the truth, so I will now cushion that by saying something good. The one area in which you have demonstrated a commitment to historical accuracy has been in your rate of sexually transmitted disease acquisition. Which way is the wind blowing? Why? Well, if it's coming in from the east, 3. Or, well, I'm going to have to make a ruling. And we do that by reading the rules. Stack exchange? No, I will not surrender decision making over to a bunch of imbecilic man-child forum trolls. No, I will stick to the grand tradition of educated jurisprudence. I believe I have some material and some precedent in international law. Just take a look here. Yeah. I think as we just find it in here. Okay. Well, yes, I do want to build a basis in the law. I was sued by 2 previous parties. Thankfully, the judge was a reasonable man, and in both cases ruled that in a voluntary game, the DM has absolute power. Like all judges, like all good judges, he was lawful neutral. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna make the ruling. If you roll higher than a 12. Yeah. No, what have you done, you foul creature? How could you have defeated me? The wind from your dwarf, who did fail his constitution throw after eating the rotten fish, overwhelms the soft-speaking sorcerer, and he dies. You see the cavern up ahead. Have you reached the cave of somnolence? Will it be this easy? Does the monstrous shard lie inside? Will you be able to use its power to bring sleep to the wakeful denizens of this earth? You march towards the cavern when suddenly you hear a sword being unsheathed. But then, what's that? You hear another sword being drawn from its scabbard. What foe is this with 2 blades? But then, what do you hear but Another sword being drawn. And a fourth. A figure appears in the looming entry of the cave. It is Shogunate Grievous, the four-armed samurai lizard, each reptilian hand holding a blade. Whatever. I came up with this idea while George Lucas was still making Ewok Christmas specials. Yeah. Anyway, the prequels were better than anything that came before or after. I mean, the Knights of Ren and not a single lightsaber joust? Are you kidding me? Let's roll those 20-sided die. Add that dex bonus if you have one. Alright. Fighter, have at it. You swing your sword like the knight at some kitschy, mediocre Times restaurant. General Grievous easily parries the blow, fires in a counter, and his many arms move with the blur. Find your sword thrown from your hand, and then your hand entirely sliced off of your arm. A good old-fashioned de-lipping seems to be in order. I actually find Zweihander to be too tame for something a lot more realistic. I made an exhaustive survey of battlefield wounds throughout all time. So yeah, I need you to go ahead and roll to see if you go into shock, staring at the blood pouring from your severed wrist, or whether you pass out, likely to bleed out before your jewel-obsessed comrades even notice that you require healing. Yeah, I think you can abandon your Pendragon fantasies of a multi-generational legacy. You are simply a generic stump on the tree of life that connects all things. Shogunate Grievous's blades were, wizard, what do you intend to do? Clever. You cast your cold spell, and the samurai lizard grows lethargic, his moves slowing, making him easy pickings for the rest of the party to slaughter. You grin with the morally rotten gusto of a Wall Street banker whose insider trading has gone unnoticed by the SEC. The entrance to the cavern is before you, entirely unprotected, like the fields of helpless villagers after invading bandits have slaughtered their hastily assembled and incompetent militia. Why do you trespass here, mortals? I am an all-powerful being from a different dimension, a lich who has mastered the power of the monstral shard. You do not concern me in any way. Still, you thought you would be able to kill me. And that would be impossible without the unguents of Alamagoria. You're surprised. Let me throw out a theory here. Some time ago, perhaps a goblin sentry flicked his eyes to the left briefly, and you didn't notice it. Because if you had, you might have gone and checked out the rock ledge he inadvertently glanced at, and you might have found a secret cavern where you could have obtained the unguents. That is, if you'd stuck together and chosen solid tactics, rather than scattering like children and making the screaming, deranged attacks of a meth addict trying to steal spray paint from a Kmart. And judging by the stupefied, glazed over look on your faces, which suggests an intelligence score that could have benefited from more points allocation, as well as a single-digit charisma skill probably chosen, some farcical notion that you were min-maxing your barbarian attacks. Anyway, I digress. Since you have not taken the proper preparations, you surely will die now. I'll roll for the theater, but unless your savings throws go above 40, there's really no point. This is the end of the line. Do not pass go, do not collect experience, and it's time to roll a new char. Because you've just been charbroiled. Now please, clear out of my home.